Social media marketing is always changing, which means it can be super hard to keep up. I know that's true for me. But what if I told you there's a way to always make it easy to use social media to grow your business? In this video, I'm gonna go through the 6 steps to social media marketing to actually get clients. So don't go anywhere. Hi, I'm Jennifer Kem, but you can call me Jen. I'm the founder of the Master Brand Institute, and here we guide entrepreneurs through the process of building a unique message that attracts more of the right people and converts them into paying clients. I upload a new video every Friday, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, then click the bell icon so you're notified when new content is available. Now, on to today's video. So you want a social media marketing strategy that actually gets clients? Well, it's a good thing you're watching this video. In this video, we're gonna dig into the 6 nuanced steps to social media marketing that actually gets clients. And what I'm about to share with you can be used for social media marketing, but it's so much more than that. I'm sure we can all agree that social media marketing is one of the best traffic mechanisms to grow your reach, right? Higher reach means more engagement, which means more followers, which means more clients, right? Bad news, not really. You can have a massive reach, a ton of engagement, and 1 million followers and still not get new clients. And what's the point of getting all these things if it doesn't translate to more money in your pocket and in your business? I think it's pointless, but hey, some people love vanity metrics, and who am I to judge them? Judging. So if you care more about the engagement and follow count than the money, I'm gonna recommend you stop this video and go watch something else. But if you're still here, great. Let's dig into the 6 steps to social media marketing that actually gets clients. Somewhere on this screen, you'll now see a colorful hexagon appear. This hexagon is the unique message model. It's the messaging framework that's the foundation of everything that I do with clients to help them grow their business. You see, great messaging is the foundation on which effective social media marketing is built. Social media is just a mechanism to get your message in front of more people. Before social media, it was television. Before television, it was radio. Before radio, it was the newspaper. All of these, just mechanisms. They're how marketing happens, not what is said to get people to spend the money. That's called messaging. You see, when platforms grow old, best practices become outdated, and the business world shifts, clear and consistent messaging will stand the test of time. It's the underlying foundation to business success. And my unique message model is the simplest way to uncover the unique message that will attract more of the right people you want to work with. First, I'm going to explain each of them, and then I'll dig into how they really work. The unique message model has 6 pillars: values, brand archetype, stories, use case, offer, and niche. Your values are what you fundamentally believe in as a human being. Your brand archetype is what makes you most unique in the mind of your audience. Your stories or experience story sequence is what creates trust with your audience. Your use case, also called unique solution expertise, is the method or framework you walk clients through to create their desired result. Your offer is the actual work you do to help them solve their deepest problem, and your niche is the problem you solve. Together, these 6 pillars work to create your unique message, also known as what makes your social media marketing actually get clients. Make sense? Now, I've been going off a script for this video to keep my thoughts concise. As I really want to dig into these 6 pillars, I'm going to go away from my script to really share the context beneath the unique message model. So I think you might be surprised by this answer because a lot of people talk about values in a very fluffy, generalized way. Values are not your thoughts. Values are not your feelings. Values are not your wishes. Values are your behavior. And so when I say behavior, both your conscious and your subconscious behavior, and it actually dictates most of the decisions that you're making in your life, whether you like it or not. So if you're making decisions that don't really support you, then your values are probably out of alignment. As I mentioned about defining values, values are behaviors, right? So when you are messaging and trying to signal to your clients what you stand for, what you believe in, what you care about, those come through in the topics you talk about, in the metaphors that you use when you're messaging what you're offering them, in the examples that you use, and how you're actually modeling your life. Because in today's world, especially in social media, people don't just want to know your business information. They want to see how you're living your life. They want to see what you're supporting. They want to see what type of people you hang out with. And those decisions all reflect your values, and therefore it's reflected in your messaging. So my values and the values of the Master Brand Institute are autonomy, justice, generosity, leadership, and legacy. So before I even tell you what my values are, let me tell you why describing and defining your values are even more important than the words themselves. But let's start with the words themselves. So my company's values are autonomy, justice, generosity, leadership, and legacy. So first, let's talk about autonomy. Why autonomy? Autonomy for us represents having full control over our future decisions and not letting anybody else dictate what we do. And so that means that in our company, we want to work with people who are aligned with the idea that we want to empower them to be autonomous in their business too, and simply provide the best practices in what works. And so we don't like making decisions where they get us trapped in a corner or that we can't scale and expand our business. Justice. Justice is not just about equity, inclusion, and diversity, although that is extremely important to our company. It's also about fairness. You know, when I left the corporate world, I left because an unjust decision to not promote me, even though I had earned it, was given to somebody else. And so we're always looking for a fair exchange between what we give to our clients, what we do with our team, and how we treat ourselves. And obviously, we also invest heavily in anything that supports people who do not have the same access that the status quo does. Generosity means that there is absolutely nothing, and I'm going to repeat, nothing that I can tell you that you can take away from me. And what I mean by that is that our company is more about over-delivering, over-telling, over-teaching everything we know, because we believe that the more you know, the better and more fast that you can get results. In a world where it feels like very competitive and you feel like, you know, other people are doing what you're doing, we believe for our company that because our messaging and our values are so distinct, that nobody else has our message, so we can generously share it anytime we want. We don't fear competition. Leadership is interesting because in most companies, people think of it as leading others or being a CEO. And our definition is that leadership of self is even more critical than leadership of others. Because when you lead yourself and when you invest in your personal and professional development and you hang out and you work alongside people that have the same goals to be more leaders of themselves, that empowers them to become better leaders of others. And so that's our approach to leadership. And then finally, legacy. What that means is that we want to make a legacy now. We want to do good things now, not just in the far off future. Obviously, we want to create generational wealth and generational impact past our lifetimes through our work. But it's important to us that that legacy is present, not just future. Just by sharing with you what our values are, you automatically know while you're listening to me whether you're like, yeah, that's my vibe. You actually know that you align with what we stand for. You may not have the exact same values as my company or me, but there's something in what I shared about my values that clicked for you. And therefore, your values are aligned with mine and you're willing to learn and lean in more. So brand archetypes weren't invented by me, first of all. They aren't also invented by most of the people that you see talk about it online. Brand archetypes were actually coined by Carl Jung, who basically studied human beings. He was a psychologist who studied how human beings behaved. And he noticed that people are attracted to certain character stories, and that he named 12 different types of characters in a story that human beings are attracted to. And so these characters are used as the foundation for like almost every single advertising campaign out there. A lot of people don't understand and know that, but it's because we love stories and we're attracted to brands that sound and vibe like us. And so brand archetypes is one component of looking at how you can sound unique in the marketplace. So I want you to think about brand archetypes like your brand voice. It's how your voice lands, the lexicon that you use in your marketing to describe your business, the way that you describe things. There is an underlying character that's telling the narrative and the story and the marketing and the messaging of your business. And so how I like to think about it is it's the actual voice that becomes recognizable in your marketing. So first of all, there are 3 main archetypes that comprise your brand archetypes. And they are the dominant, the intrinsic, and the intuitive archetypes. In our company, our 3-part brand archetype is the ruler, the explorer, and the lover. Well, if you've been following me for a while, or if this is your first time discovering me on this channel, people will tell you that as a ruler, the ruler archetype is seen as the leader, the CEO, has a very dominant voice. The explorer archetype is basically a guide. So in the work that we do, it's all about providing a map by which the customers can get to their point B. And then finally, the lover is the archetype that describes aesthetic beauty, experiences, intimacy. So one of the things we strive for is that even right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to a video camera right now, I want you to feel like I'm speaking directly to you so that there's a level of intimacy in our conversation. Well, stories are the reason you believe anything you believe today. Stories have been used to cause war and create peace. And so stories, it's the reason that publishing is so important, and it will always be. And publishing is not just in books or on blogs. It's also through video conversations right now between you and me. It's hieroglyphics on the wall when the early people told their stories so that later on, when their civilizations were being studied, people could understand and learn about them. Also, people generally speaking, and this is a scientific fact, we are moved by stories. Stories deepen an emotional connection to whatever it's tied to. And so having your stories dialed in and understanding how they support your offers, your solutions, your business is critical. So there are 2 types of stories, the authority story and the approachability story. The authority story is all about what you are an expert in. They are stories that highlight whether you've had credentials, education, work experience, and the best authority stories in your business are client results or testimonials. Then there's the approachability stories, which make or signal to people that you're actually a real person and that you've had life experience that supports the mission and the vision that you have to help people. And so approachability stories can include things like where you grew up, or you went through a specific thing that was a catalyst moment for you to become, let's say, the entrepreneur that you are today. It could also be like, for example, I'm a mother. I have 3 kids. And so for those of you that are mothers and you're ambitious like me, my story might inspire you to know that it's possible on the other side. So that's what approachability stories are. So my formula, because I know how you like formulas, people like formulas, and this is not cut and dry, but this is a tip for you when you want to use your stories in social media marketing. Choose one authority story so that you can anchor trust that you actually know what you're talking about, and then do an approachability story that supports it. So let me give you an example. I worked for 10 years in the corporate world before I became an entrepreneur. Right there, that is an authority story because it shows that I have 10 years of experience in the corporate world and that I was an executive in the corporate world. So there's my authority story. So then if I were to pair that authority story with an approachability story, which is I had no good reason to leave a job that was paying me multiple six figures. I had a corner office with a disco ball in it, and I had a parking spot with my name on it. And as a former executive, and especially if you're listening and let's say you worked in the corporate world, you resonate with that I actually wanted to leave because an unjust thing happened to me. So that's an approachability story that also highlights my values and tells people how I'm qualified to help them because I have X amount of years of experience, for example, and that I was scared to leave my corporate job, but I did it anyway based on my values. So use case stands for unique solution expertise. It's basically the method or the path that you have. And what's cool is this is proprietary to you. It's a piece of intellectual property in your service-based business that allows people to both visually see where they're going and what they have to do to achieve the results that they came to you to achieve. And so it's a really important component that you need to also show that you're qualified to help them. Okay, so the unique message model is a use case in our company, and we have a number of use cases. But if I were to use that one as an example, there are 6 parts to the unique message model. There are your values, your archetype, your stories, your use case, your offer, and your niche. And so when you think about that path, what I'm saying and what our company is saying to you is that these are the 6 things that if you apply them and master them over time, you will distinctly set yourself apart from anybody else that does what you do. And that's critical because there are a lot of choices now for what you do. And so what's cool is that mixture of those 6, 100% uniquely make you different than anybody else who does what you do. So that's why it's so great, because now you have infinite possibilities to also market and message what you have. So we have this thing called the VSM framework, and that stands for Visionizer, Strategizer, and Mobilizer. And this framework is the leadership framework that we use to run our business. In a business, there are 3 main roles that you want to have. Now, the roles aren't necessarily specific people. Because when you're first starting out as an entrepreneur, you're the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker, the janitor, and the CEO, right? So when you're first starting out, you're all 3 roles. The visionizer, the person who is looking towards the future and has a vision for their brand. You are the strategizer, which is the person who comes up with the offers and the ideas and the messaging to be able to share how you help people. So that's really the role that's the marketing and sales role in the organization, even if you're an organization of 1. And the third one, which is mobilizer, is the role that does the back end. So it's operates, gets processes and procedures, make sure that things are efficient inside of the company, even if you're a company of 1. So the VSM model helps small business owners specifically know where to put the right roles so you focus on the right things. A lot of people struggle with leadership. A lot of people struggle with team. And VSM allows you to create a model to manage your team and lead them to the vision that you want. one of the things that our company is known for, and it happened by accident, to be honest with you, is that we put on phenomenal live experiences, live events like conferences, workshops, whether it's a workshop of 10 people to 1,000 people. We know that the most impact comes from what we call belly to belly conversations, meaning people to people interaction. And that's true. That stands the test of time. Even with social media, an in-person experience will always perform better than an online experience. You can quote me on that and come for me if you disagree, okay? So the $1 million experience is a culmination of making literally millions of dollars for ourselves and clients through the power of online and offline experiences. So online experiences look like live webinars, live telesummits, live seminars, right, that you do. And then there are the offline experiences, which are things like, as I mentioned, conferences, workshops, seminars, things like that. And we realized there's 4 really critical pieces you need to have a super high performing $1 million experience and to create those $1 million results. So you need strategy, marketing, enrollment, and scale. And so throughout that process, first we come up with a strategy of how are you going to present and get people to understand why your event, online or offline, is unique and they should even bother to attend, because people's most precious resources are time and energy. And especially when you're asking them to get on a plane, train, or automobile, it has to be something so clear to them that they need. So that is part of the strategy. Then you put that strategy into the marketing, which means you take all that messaging, you put it into the marketing, and you invite people to come. And there's a variety of strategies and tactics to get them to do that. We call that the butts in seats strategy. And then there is the enrollment piece of it, which is the conversion to your offer. Because live events, online or offline, the big thing is not on the front end making money, but it's actually on the back end to be able to demonstrate in the room that you have the expertise and the experience to help them get what they want. And so the enrollment strategy is about how do you actually position the offer and invite them in. And then finally, scale is about how do you mobilize a team and what processes and templates and structures do you need to make that all happen as seamlessly as possible. So it's a whole system to help you create a $1 million experience. Well, isn't it obvious why you need an irresistible offer? There are a lot of people in the world that are doing what you're doing. And if that you don't believe that, you're already off to the wrong start. And I'm telling you that not to be cruel, but to be honest with you, that with the advent of online marketing, social media, there are a lot of people, especially in the expert space, who are doing what you're doing. And so your offer has to specifically have features, benefits, and a result that your clients want. And that's what makes it irresistible, and that's what makes them choose you. So we talked about use cases first. So the first use case I talked about was the unique message model. And that use case supports the offer that we call the Messenger Mastermind. And in the Messenger Mastermind, the outcomes are that you will use the unique message model to create more ROI around your marketing outcomes as well as your sales outcomes, and make sure that you appear authentically different than anyone else who is doing what you're doing. So I talked about another use case, which is our VSM framework, which stands for Visionizer, Strategizer, and Mobilizer. And that specific framework is at the heart and the nucleus of our CEO Circle program. Now, in the CEO Circle, what we found is that if you're making $10K or more a month, one of the things that is both an opportunity and a challenge is understanding what to do next and when and who to help you do it. And so in the CEO Circle, it's a circle of those type of entrepreneurial CEOs where myself and my COO guide and mentor and advise you on what to actually do next so that you can hit your quarterly and yearly goals inside of your business. So then we also have the $1 Million Experience, which is both a use case for us as well as the actual program that we work with clients. This particular program is helping to strategize and design your $1 Million Experience. So it takes your offer, it takes your strategy, and it creates an entire system and a playbook for you and your team to execute live events, both online and offline, with at least 30% conversion or more. But we're really proud to report that clients that work with us in the $1 Million Experience program have experienced 50% or more sales conversions. We're proud to brag that in our own events, we've even gotten over 100% conversion in the room. Now, you might be like, what? That sounds ridiculous. Well, when you create amazing experiences, people will beg you to create something else just for them. So in the instance where we had over 100% conversion of sales in a room, it was that the offer that we had in the room didn't work for some of the people in the room. So what they wanted to do was work with us one-on-one, and we decided, okay, we'll take 2 or 3 clients in VIP sessions. And as a result of that, we exceeded our actual projections for the event. So in $1 Million Experience, if you want to create those type of incredible sales conversion outcomes, it is the program for you. Offers are the structure to support the use case. And each of the use cases I shared earlier, each one has a unique offer specifically created to help facilitate the process of applying that use case. Well, first of all, most people define niche wrong. They do it what I call the lazy way. Niche is not demographics, psychographics, where your prospect lives, what their lifestyle is. Now, let me be clear. It is partly that, but that's not the core of what the niche is. The core of the niche is, and write this down, is it's the exact problem that your offer solves for them. So when you know the problem you're solving, you then know you can go find the people in the watering holes, meaning the places where they gather, to then get to know them and create a relationship with them. Instead of the other way around, which people will say, okay, if you're a mom between the age of 38 to 50 and blah, 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 that's your niche. Now you're just talking about a person, but you don't know where they're hanging out. But when you know what the problem is, you can go and research where they are hanging out and create a way to reach them. And so that's a really important distinction, because when you change your definition of niche to solving a problem instead of knowing the person, it's going to make finding them a lot easier. Now, I've just shared a ton of information with you, and you're probably wondering how it is that you can implement all of this information. The best part is by starting to learn your archetype. Knowing your archetype will give you an immediate understanding of how to better message yourself when you're doing social media marketing. So I've created a psychological assessment to identify the archetype you most naturally embody. This assessment is a certified diagnostic of human behavior that's been vetted and approved by one of the top collegiate schools of psychology in the United States. And I say all of that to make one point. This is not a BuzzFeed quiz where you take when you're bored. Here are a few important notes when you take the quiz. First, this assessment will take approximately 30 minutes. Like I said, it's an actual real diagnostic on human behavior to understand what drives you as an entrepreneur. Second, you must be of sober mind when taking it. So don't be under the influence of anything, because it will skew the results of your test. Third, answer the questions based on where you currently are in your life, not where you want to be. That's super, super important. Now, with all that context out of the way, use the link below to uncover your brand archetype. And that's it. If you found value in this content, please hit the thumbs up button below so we can get this video in front of more entrepreneurs like you who want help marketing their business. And also be sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified when new content is released. I'm Jen Kem, here to help you get seen, heard, and paid for the unique value that you bring into the world. Until next time.